Video games have been a massive part of my life. And I've seen how they've shaped our world. That's why I am into every detail about one of the biggest gaming retailers, GameStop. When everyone thought games on shelves were dead, this company is doing surprising things, like being still in business. It went from almost disappearing to being worth like a crazy $10 billion. It's incredible, really. GameStop is back on top, making billions, selling games, and making gamers happy. But how? And what's causing it to be the stubborn resilience of retail video games? Let's explore in this epic gamer journey together and find out what lies ahead for GameStop. So stick around until the end without skipping, as I have some amazing info bombs planted in every second of the video. GameStop is a heavyweight in the world of video games. Based in Grapevine, Texas, it's a giant in video game retail, having around 4,413 stores globally, including 2,949 in the United States, 216 in Canada, 419 in Australia, and 829 across Europe. It's like the leading player in video game retail, reigning supreme under various brand names like GameStop, EB Games, Micromania Zing, and more. As of January 2024, GameStop holds the top spot as the biggest video game retailer globally. But it wasn't always like that from the beginning. There are many chapters in the book of its story. I'll discuss the dark ones later in the video. First, let me take you to its origin. It all began with the inception of the Babbages in 1984, cooked up by two Harvard Business School pals, James McCurry and Gary M. Kuzin. And guess what? They named it after Charles Babbage, a genius in the computing industry. Their first store popped up in Dallas's North Park Center, thanks to the backing of an early investor, Ross Perot. Back then, I knew Babbage's wasn't all about video games. They started focusing on software. But fast forward to 1987 and things kicked up a notch when they jumped into the world of Nintendo games, hitting the jackpot in the gaming market. By 1991, a whopping 2/3 of their sales came from video games. Then, in 1994, came the Big Bang moment. Babbage's merged with Software Etc., a Minnesota-based software retailer, and voila! The NeoStar Retail Group was born. This merger wasn't just an ordinary old handshake, it was a stock swap, birthing NeoStar as a brand new holding company. Both Babbage's and Software Etc. operated independently under the NeoStar umbrella, keeping their teams intact. Now, you'll be shocked to know that in 1995, Gary Kuzin decided to take a step back, and Daniel DiMatteo stepped up to the plate. They merged Babbage's and Software Etc. into one entity within NeoStar in 1996 due to sales taking a nosedive. Unfortunately, this move didn't quite turn the tide as expected. Later that same year, NeoStar hit some choppy waters, struggling to secure credit for their holiday stock and ultimately filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It was a rough patch. But in swooped Leonard Riggio, the founder of Software Etc., offering a lifeline. He snagged NeoStar's assets for $58.5 million, saving over 100 stores from closing their doors. Now, you won't believe what I have to share here. GameStop went through a downfall after its involvement with Barnes & Noble in the late 90s and early 2000s. Things got pretty interesting when Barnes & Noble booksellers swooped in and snagged Babbage's Etc. for $215 million in October 1999. You see, Leonard Riggio, the big shot behind Barnes & Noble, was also the brain behind Babbage's Etc. So, a special committee of Barnes & Noble independent directors had to give the deal a green light. Then just a few months later, in May 2000, Barnes & Noble added another feather to its cap by acquiring Funko, the proud owners of Funkoland, a video game retailer based in Minnesota. And what came along with Funko? The cherry on top is Game Informer, a video game magazine that has been rocking since 1991. It was like the perfect gaming combo. Now here's a big twist I'm eager to spill the beans on. Babbage's Etc., which had been rolling under the name Barnes & Noble, suddenly became part of Funko. Funko, being the excellent company it was, got a new name in December 2000. GameStop Inc. I mean, it was a fantastic makeover, isn't it? Fast forward to February 2002, GameStop decided to make a grand re-entrance into the public scene with an initial public offering (IPO). Barnes & Noble held the reins with 67% of outstanding shares and 95% of voting shares, keeping their grip tight. But in October 2004, Barnes & Noble had a change of heart and decided to set GameStop free. They gave away their 59% stake in GameStop to Barnes & Noble stakeholders, setting GameStop on its own independent journey. It was like GameStop spreading its wings and taking flight, ready to carve its path in the gaming world. Back in 2004, they ventured into the movie scene by creating MovieStop, focusing on new and used movies. Can you believe they opened more than 42 MovieStop locations, many right alongside GameStop stores? It was a full-on entertainment extravaganza. But in 2012, they let MovieStop fly solo under private owners, and sadly, it closed its curtains in 2016. Then in October 2012, GameStop made a grand entrance with GameStop Kids, a brilliant pop-up concept that catered to younger gamers. And to be honest, it's my personal favorite business move of GameStop. I mean, 80 locations buzzing during the holiday season, filled to the brim with games rated everyone by the ESRB, and cool stuff from beloved franchises. It was like every kid's dream come true. Down under, in Australia in July 2014, EB Games Australia stepped up its game by introducing Zing Pop Culture. This pop culture has expanded to over 50 standalone stores and various mega hybrid stores that combine both EB Games and Zing Pop Culture goodies in one spot. I must say that it became a fusion of gaming paradise and pop culture wonderland, and people loved it. Now, I'm excited to share that Daniel Matteo took the reins as CEO in August 2008, replacing Richard Fontaine, who stuck around as the company's chairman. Then J. Paul Raines, who came from Home Depot, joined as COO in 2010 and later took over as CEO in June 2010. Under Raines' guidance, GameStop saw a digital revenue boost from $190 million in 2011 to $600 million in 2012. Now that's what I call a digital revolution. The rise of downloadable games through services like Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and Steam delivered a blow to physical game sales, nudging GameStop into a downward spiral. When I looked into it, I found that this decline hit GameStop hard, with a staggering 16.4% sales drop reported in the 2016 holiday season. Then things took a grim turn with the launch of Circle of Life, a policy that put immense pressure on GameStop's retail staff. This policy demanded a certain percentage of sales be attributed to pre-orders, rewards cards, used games, or customer trades. But when I dug deeper, I got to know that this policy pushed many employees to resort to dishonest practices, straining their working conditions and causing emotional distress. Although GameStop later tweaked the policy, shifting focus to store performance rather than individual employees, the damage had already been done. Financially, GameStop faced a barrage of hits. Shares plummeted, first a 16% fall in 2016, then an 8% drop following Microsoft's Xbox Pass announcement in 2017. GameStop decided to close over 150 stores to pivot towards non-gaming ventures.
I'm David Hatfield and this is IGN News. Video game retailer GameStop is looking to expand its reach into what it deems more viable markets while shedding some weight from its traditional brick-and-mortar stores.
But still planned to open new technology brand and collectibles stores to offset the losses. Even though they saw some sales increase from these new ventures, GameStop's overall revenue dropped by 7.6% to $3.06 billion by February 2018. The investment in Spring Mobile turned into a debacle, costing GameStop $800 million in debt despite a $1.5 billion spending spree in acquisitions. They tried to sell off the company, and talks with potential buyers were in the air, but in January 2019, GameStop abandoned the sale due to financial constraints. This decision sent shares crashing by 27%, marking a 14-year low. The financial woes continued, marking 2018 as GameStop's darkest year in losses. The company recorded a net loss of $673 million, starkly contrasting the $34.7 million profit of the previous year. Their net sales dropped by 3% to $8.29 billion, and they axed their dividend. Canada felt the effects the most, with net sales falling from $476.4 million in 2016 to just $332.3 million in 2021, a shocking 40% dump. The U.S. market, which used to be strong, also fell, losing almost a quarter of its sales, from $6.4 billion in 2016 to $4.18 billion in 2021. Just like the rest of the company, sales in Europe dropped 50%, from $1.65 billion in 2016 to $900.1 million in 2021. And recently, in December 2021, GameStop faced another blow, reporting larger than expected losses in the fiscal third quarter, which sent investors into a tailspin. Between 2016 and 2021, GameStop faced a decline in the number of stores across several regions. While Australia saw steady growth, Canada lost nearly half its stores, dropping from 345 in 2019 to just 231 in 2021. This trend mirrored Europe, where France shed over 20 stores and Germany nearly 30 in the same timeframe. Even smaller markets like Ireland and Norway witnessed significant contraction. In 2021, I found a stock market frenzy surrounding GameStop that I never expected to witness. In just 2 weeks, GameStop's stock price shot up an incredible 1,500% and hit a mind-boggling high of over $500 on the New York Stock Exchange. This incredible surge was mainly driven by a group of investors from Reddit's subreddit Wall Street Bets, a community known for its interest in risky stocks. It was fascinating to see how this online group's actions had a massive impact on the stock market. Then, adding fuel to the fire, tech mogul Elon Musk chimed in with a tweet mentioning GameStonk and linking to the Reddit community. GameStop made a significant move by shutting down all its stores in Ireland by June 2023, a rather unexpected decision, but amidst these changes, Ryan Cohen took the helm as CEO and chairman in September 2023, deciding to forego any salary. Through all these twists and turns, it's crystal clear that GameStop is navigating rough waters. People thought it would shut down gradually and wouldn't make any comeback. But the reality is way the opposite. Not only is GameStop maintaining a great position in the business industry, but it's also trying quite hard to compete in the gaming world with full determination and resilience. As I dug further into GameStop's recent moves, I came across Ryan Cohen's strong stance in an internal memo addressed to employees. His words were quite the wake-up call. He highlighted the urgency to steer the struggling ship of GameStop toward survival. Our main job is to make sure GameStop is here for decades to come. Now, Cohen's no stranger to big moves. He's a major GameStop shareholder and made a splash at Chewy. Stepping in as CEO marks a new chapter for GameStop, a company that's been struggling lately. Once a gaming giant, GameStop has been trying to keep up in an era of online gaming purchases. To stay afloat, GameStop's tried some wild new stuff. They've dabbled in NFTs and even teamed up with a cryptocurrency exchange, but it hasn't been all smooth sailing. They've had a merry-go-round of CEOs and top brass changes, even though they brought in pros like Matt Furlong and Mike Recupero. They didn't stick around for long. GameStop's stock price has been on a wild ride, too. After the whole meme stock craze in 2021, the share prices have been all over the map. Now sitting at $16.84, it's nowhere near its peak at over $86. With a recent $2.8 million loss in the second quarter, GameStop is definitely facing some tough times. But with Cohen steering the ship, it seems they're aiming for smoother waters by keeping a tighter hold on their finances. So what do you think about GameStop's sheer will to thrive again? Let me know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.